Hello everyone, this is AmberAnkNA here. Welcome to my channel. Well, I play a variety of games and do narrations for fanfics. I'm really hoping you enjoy my content. If you do, make sure to comment below, leave a like, and subscribe with the notifications on. Right, until next time, this is AmberAnkNA. Welcome to my channel. So, hi. To start the live streams month, I want to start it out with a good one. With the return of the only option left, Chapter 3, The Wisp. Mass! The older girl screamed as she ran back into the kitchen holding her daughter. She kneeled down and stirred the girl on her feet and then drove towards the purple silhouettes on the floor. The visually visible outlines of her partner and the teenage visitor vanished, leaving only residual warmth where they had been sitting. Fuck! Bad word, Mama! The little girl nudged crossly reminded her mother and toddled to the play area Mass set up for her earlier in the day between the living room and the kitchen. Clay was left on the hardwood floor, echoing searching the now vacant spot where she could still smell and likely taste her partner in air. Her heart was thumping in a dreadfully inconsistent pattern, and the blood was thunderous in her ears. Spiral inched its way up her throat as it tightened with panic. A fast dizziness consumed her vision while the room located in a counterclockwise swirl. She wiped away the moisture forming in her eyes and peered over at the beautiful little 2-year-old who was singing to herself on the floor. Chloe took a deep breath, holding it in for several seconds, and exhaled with a deep, airy waft. She pushed herself up and opened the pantry door, locating a bag of Starburst jelly beans. She turned in and devoured a handful of the sweet candy, which immediately calmed her enough to gather her thoughts and attempt to process what had happened. Her soulmate and an older version of her daughter just vanished, and she had no idea where they went. Max called out to her before she left, so Chloe knew it was something out of her control and unexpected. She remembered the teen mentioning a grift that happened a couple years ago, and she suspected it might have happened again. The blonde pushed up to her feet and started pacing around the house, searching her mind for how to bring her life back. Her pointer and middle fingers insistently rested on her lips like she was holding a cigarette at her mouth. In the past, when things seemed hopeless and in dismay, she would chain smoke, but since Mass came back to her, and after the second storm week, she hadn't even considered taking a drag. Being engraved by an unconditional love like Mass's, she didn't feel lonely anymore, and there was no reason to back to the cancer six. Okay, we've been through crazy shit before. We got this. She began softly speaking to the wall beside the frizz. And we still Mass and Chloe. She felt confident, relief bubbling from deep inside her skull. As she paused as an idea crossed her mind. She remembered the wedding and how they opened a small dropper of their powers to twinkle each other right before the start of the ceremony. We always together. The blonde closed her eyes and found the soapy sweet spot where the fast-forward power laid with most the endless gray. She hadn't been inside this part of her mind in what felt like ages. With just a small and delicate touch, she opened the pulse and quickly pulled it back up down, looking over the happy little girl on the floor. She saw her daughter still playing like nothing had happened. The very noticeable fast forward wouldn't have been recognized except by one very special person. That person was her soulmate, her lover, the yin to her yang, her best friend, and her wife. They were deeply connected at the atomic level, as the hope upon it would locate the tickle. 2 minutes passed, then 5, then 10. Destiny asked for a snack, and her mom filled a full bowl with goldfish crackers and opened a low-sugared apple juice carton. 50 minutes went by, and Chloe started to worry. "Where are you, Mass?" she whispered to herself as she sat at the table while her daughter finished eating. The girl's precious high tail had a seat-like fabric draped from the back to the front, with her legs drawn down for maximum comfort. The sign on the fabric illustrated a mystical glowing doe which was picked by Mass, and it always made her think of her beautiful wife. Which she did quite often anyway. She needed to find her perfect person, and she needed to do it quickly. Though they had only been apart for several minutes, she already missed the goal. Chloe considered calling her best friend Cell, but abandoned the idea when she realized Mass's phone was sitting on the kitchen table. Even if she had it with her, just that the ghost took her to another universe. If that's where the two women went, she was very certain signals were not capable of being detected between realities. She closed her eyes again and located the spot where the power existed in her mind. As she sensed its presence and felt its strength, a new thought washed through her. She had always treated her fast-forward power like a secret panic button that was hidden and tucked away, only to be used sparingly if desperate. In the past, she pressed down on it like a switch that had to be turned on in order to work. It never really was a switch, though. It was more like a dam that acted as a barricade to an opposing D-laws. Instead of pressing, this time she grabbed at the wise portion of the area and pulled. To her surprise, it was easy to lift from where it rested. Unless she just stub it underneath would change everything. The spot slid upward from Chloe's grasp, but remained connected by a persuasive strain of vibrating energy. She peeked into the new-formed cavern and could see a network of indescribable stringing and throwing and twisting strands that pulsated with infinite, unpredictable lifts and wefts. A slight tremor shot through her nerves, and she backed away from the opening a bit. After a brief pause, she gazed back in and noticed a particular wrist awakening with a thumping surge. When her mind's sight perfectly aligned with the glow, her soul connected in a way that had only happened while looking deep into Master's eyes. "Shit, I can feel her!" She gasped with a confidence certainly in her heart. She raised her gasp on the power and reopened her eyes. "Holy fuck!" the blonde mother whispered, remembering her daughter was only a few feet from where she stood. A calmness poured through her body, and she knew her life was safe. She began to dive back in and view the amazing depths of her mind as she had just unlocked so she could feel her homemade's connection, but responsibility outweighed everything else at a moment. Chloe knew she was about to embark on a new journey, and would need her to have the freedom and space to figure things out. She called Vanessa and asked if her and Ryan would keep Destiny for the remainder of the weekend, and they quickly agreed. Going into the car and meekly packed a bag with extra cleans of clothes, toys, and diapers, then hit the road. The child's grandparents already had everything they needed to entertain a child since the family of three moved out just one day prior. She buckled the little girl in her car seat, and the bonds hit the road, trekking the alley to the house where they once lived. When they arrived, she tried her best to quickly drop her daughter off and leave, but was hit with an onslaught question about the urgency and why her wife wasn't with her. Having lived with the Caulfields for several years, she knew how to say around questions without fully lying about but also not having to divulge with any information she wanted to protect. London and Vanessa was still not aware how their granddaughter was conceived, and it sort of worked for the time being. But as Destiny grew up and started looking more like her teenage self, Chloe imagines there might be some difficulty in understanding how she looked so much like both her and her wife. She didn't stress about it and figured they would cross that road when the time came. There was only one person in her life, besides Math, that she felt comfortable enough to open up to and be vulnerable around. And considering their past, it would be a surprise to a teenage Chloe that they had gone to this point. Even though she considered it marvelous time, they hadn't told David about the powers to the possible events they went through since Master showed she could rewind. She needed a support, so she decided to call her stepdad. The phone rang several times, but finally the man's deathly cough, yet tender voice came on the line. "Hey, sweetie," he answered. "How are you three girls doing?" His voice bounced and bubbled, and she could tell he was genuinely excited to hear from her. "Hey, David, I'm doing fine, I guess." But he wanted to tell him everything. She wanted to break down and go into extreme detail about the rewind, the fast forward, the storm, the future windows, time travel, Destiny's conception, and the future version of her daughter disappearing with her wife. But it was honestly just good to hear the voice of someone she knew cared deeply about her with no most things other than support. Well, not too good, actually. "Oh no!" the military vet calmly responded as the sound of their voices blended the background of the call. "I'm in the middle of something, but let me walk away and we can talk." "No, dude. Just call me when you're finished. How long do you think it'd be?" Her voice stuttered as we needed someone to talk to, but didn't want to interrupt. "Are you sure, Chloe? It'd probably be a couple more hours. I can just leave if you Nah, it's fine." She couldn't help but feel disappointed. He had his life to live, and she understood that, but she wanted Battery to yell at him and make him drop everything he was doing to focus on her. Maybe a younger version of herself would have dialed up the attitude, but the passage of time had calmed her enough to figure her anger and decide it through a veil. "Sounds good. Bye, David." Chloe ended the call and dragged her phone on the desk. "Fuck!" She fed the rest of the way back to her town home, passing the local alternative walkway station with the windows rolled down. Usually the speed, wind, and music would help calm the girl, but her world had been flipped on its end. The hopeless situation didn't dampen her spirits, however. She couldn't wait to explore her mind again and feel soulmates connection deep within the newly discovered world. Finally, Chloe strayed into the designated parking space behind her compress, nearly knocking over the green trash container neatly stored the unit's grassy sitting area. She slammed the car in the park, removed the keys from the ignition, and whisked inside. 4 keys hung on the wing besides the 3 bullets she used to wear around her neck when she was younger. After her family household clinks and jingles, she finally isolated the one required for entry to the new place she called home for the past 24 hours. It still had that unfamiliar feeling, with boxes spread around along the floor, lying nearly every room in the house, and it felt cluttered yet empty, just like her heart at the current moment. Before exploring the wintry, discovered and unlocked portions of her mind, Chloe opened the fridge and grabbed a bottle of beer, popping it open before plopping down on the couch. She took a large, satisfying gulp and quickly forced it down her throat. Then she set the glass on the coffee table. She could almost hear her partner's voice reminding her to use a beverage coaster, so the concentration went damage the furniture and cigar bars. For now, the bill would have to sacrifice, but she was starving and needed dinner. Her reading intensity helped created a deep force for what she wanted and needed to do. Food would have to wait. Slouching her legs on the couch and straightening her back, Chloe took a deep, heavy breath, expelling the warm air from her lungs before closing her eyes. She soared past the mountains of gray and located the wise spot where the power resided. Gently gripping the tiny mount, she pulled and straightened upward, revealing the wondrous reality that existed inside. Immediately, she located the looping wisp that shined like a lighthouse beacon through the dark of night. Previously, she only grazed inside the cavernous opening and observed the circulated pulsating energy. This time, she was determined to see if she could interact and mingle almost what was seemingly a vast array of chaos. The focus would be the wisp she connected with earlier, and knew was a part of Master's essence. She tiptoed inside where the light spilled in from the opening behind her, casting a shadow on her forward movement. The deeper she dove, the closer she got to the one swirling loop she mystery desired to interact with. Like floating through space, the infinite darkness encompassed the gaps between the interconnected objects. As he approached what previously appeared to be a slow wisp of wandering energy from the distance, it existed more as a brightly illuminated bouncing core. Up close, it looked to be more of a pinkish hue than what she originally perceived as golden. Its luminosity filled and pulsated with a dull humming sound coming from deep beyond anything Chloe could see or understand. Suddenly a thought crossed her mind, and self-awareness jumped to the forefront of her lips. She somehow looked back at herself and realized she, too, existed as a soaring, lasting core energy in this place. Yet, she was neither pink nor golden. Her very felt with a bruised clarity, and she smirked to herself, then whispered, "Of course!" Turning off focus back at ground, she locked her sight onto the pinkish coil that beckoned to join her with a magnetic pull. As they connected, she felt a warm oscillation building in her heart, and her soul overflowed with love and care. She decided nothing more than to meddle into the pure energy she was experiencing through the bond. A sharp flash of orange and white light erupted through her mind, and she couldn't see anything but a brightness that was too powerful to look at directly. Grace sealed the light by closing off her vision in a manner similar to closing her eyes. When perception realigned, she was sitting in a dim sitting of Orion looking at Say's emporium, seeing what looked like a confident version of herself giving a lecture. Outwardly and utterly, she heard a gasp followed by her name. Chloe? It was her favorite word in the world. Suddenly felt like she heard it coming from somewhere else. She thought it was her who said it. Her head turned without her control and she noticed the teenage versions of Destiny sitting beside her watching the lesser. I feel you there. Fuck! I was so worried about you when we left. Mass, where are you? All I see is death and light. Another me on face. She spoke, she realized no words were coming from her mouth. It was like her thoughts were transmitting from her mind directly to her lovers. Crow, how are you here? I mean, this is so beautiful. Just wowzer. Damn, you feel fucking amazing inside of me. Are we truly insane in the brain? The brunette Weasley miserable moan was informed her wife that they were fearing the same situations, that nearly equaled the night they conceived. The two girls began to cling to one another in what can only be described as pure selfless love. Chloe's exploration of her power successfully combined the bond in a measure of desperate devotion. The embrace felt warm, tender, and endearing, and she didn't want to let go. For a moment, nothing else mattered. She could exist inside this connection for all eternity. Slowly, the forces shifted back to Master's presence, and through the brunette's eyes, they both watched what was taking place on Say's. In conclusion, information I is a true driver of reality, and a single S is a data with systematic vector I says can affect a delta from the receiver independent of causal effects. You can find my full paper for review in my department's archive under Index 1007. Price Chloe E. Are there any questions? Sorry, I don't know science. I'm not really good at science stuff. Sorry about that. Abruptly, the vision swam shut, and she was engulfed by darkness with loops and coils of energy chaotically sparking all around her. Then she was quickly pushed back out to the endless hills and mountains of gray. Pain radiated throughout her limbs and torso, followed by the followed by a deep followed by a I know how to say it. Followed by a deafening shriek in her ears. Her vision was blurred, energy depleted, and exhaustion had set in. After several moments, she regained her strength and walked around the room. She was seated cross-legged on her couch and could see boxes stacked and strewed about the floor of her family's town home. Seizing the knuckles on the back of her hands, she rubbed and massaged her eyes, and she realized her cell phone had been buzzing. She scooped it up off the coffee table and noticed 2 missed calls from her stepfather. The sound of her ringtone must have snapped her back from the recesses of her mind, and she was disappointed to be away from her partner's warmth. David, I need to listen. David, I need you to listen to me. I can't answer many questions about what I'm going to tell you, so don't ask any. Don't do that thing where you'll try and fix it. Please, just listen. Ray's voice caught as her lungs emptied of all air. Chloe, are you okay? You're taking a mile a minute. David, please, listen to me. Max is missing, and I can't tell you much about how or why. No, she wasn't kidnapped, and no, we're not fighting. She's in a place that not like anything you could ever imagine. It's like sci-fi bullshit. Hang on, sweetie. She's missing? You think it might just be like the night before your wedding? Maybe she's out getting you a sweet gift again and will show up soon. Corey was comforted by the tender way he spoke, but he would never understand if she told him the complete truth. No, David, you're not listening. A brief break in the conversation allowed the girl to gather her thoughts. She had disconnected with her mask in another universe and needed a quick breather to make sense of things. David, I just need to talk to you. We're going through some stuff. It's just good to hear your voice. Tell me about you. What have you been doing in the last week or two? We haven't spoken in a while. You sure you're okay, Chloe? You can tell me if I need to come and, well, get involved. And where's Destiny? Let's chat with that beautiful angel. She was grateful the man had her back and she was thankful for his caring and positive attitude. She was Ryan and Vanessa this weekend. Oh, damn. Well, maybe your girls can give me a call when she's back at home. Oh. The man trains yells like he does remember something important. How the hell was the move? I nearly forgot to ask. It was fine. We still have a ass load of boxes to unpack, but we get fail. David chuckled and mentioned his past experience with the many moves he had made. The man joked about leaving boxes and clutter all around the garage after he moved in with her and Joyce. Ah! So he was back. Now living a more mutable lifestyle, he only had the clothes on his back and the items he kept in his trailer. He talked about finally being able to speak with Karen's son Daniel, who was in a much better mental space than he was the last time they spoke. Just hearing the man's voice was what she really needed. It provided the comfort she typically found from her soulmate, who was currently out of the picture. David's support meant a lot to her after how rocky the relationship begun. It was more like a father figure or a friend than the Australian he once was. After ending the call, Corey realized how late it had gotten. She wasn't on the phone very long, so she must have been in the mind space longer than she knew. It didn't matter though. She could feel that her wife was safe, and she saw Des, who was also safe. The connection she and her soulmate shared was beautiful and mind-blowing, and all she wanted to do was fit in its waiting warmth. She yawned and stretched and cracked every knuckle in both hands. As sleep would slowly be coming soon, before taking a shower and lying down, the blonde closed her eyes to visit her perfect person's glow once again. She lifted the power plug and gazed inside. The gold and pink wisps glowed brightly, and she knew everything was going to be fine. If her wife would find her way back home, or she would somehow go in and bring her back, it didn't matter though. The two little boys were Max and Chloe. They were always together, even when they're not. Hi everyone. This is AmberAnkNA again. Well, I hope you enjoyed the video. Because, I really did enjoy making it. But, so I hope you enjoyed it. Comment, like, and subscribe with the notifications on down below. Till next time, bye!